name is Marcus Reyes. I was a fisherman my whole life, born and raised on the Gulf Coast of Texas, down near Corpus Christi, where the air always smells like salt and diesel and something frying somewhere. People around here know the water, the way city folks know their streets. Every current, every sandbar, every shift in the wind. My father taught me. His father taught him. The Gulf wasn't just where I worked. It was who I was. So when I set out that morning in November 2012, I wasn't worried. Not even a little. It was supposed to be a 2-day run. Go out, fill the boat, come back. I'd done it so many times I could have navigated half asleep. My partner that trip was a young kid named Tommy Vargas, 19 years old, barely had stubble on his chin, never seen a real storm in his life. But he was eager, showed up early, loaded gear without being asked, kept cracking jokes while we checked the lines. I liked him right away. We loaded up our 23-foot motorboat, bait, tackle, a cooler full of food, a few gallons of drinking water. The sky that morning was clear and blue, the kind of blue that makes you feel like nothing bad could ever happen. The forecast showed nothing. Calm seas, light wind, smooth sailing. I remember thinking, good day to be alive. The Gulf doesn't care what the forecast says. Within a few hours of leaving the dock, a squall came up out of nowhere. I've seen fast storms before, but this one was different. It built like a wall and hit like a freight train. The waves went from 3 feet to 15, 20 feet, in what felt like minutes. Water was pouring into the boat. The motor choked, sputtered, and died. Everything we had for communication, the radio, the GPS unit, went over the side in the chaos. 1 second it was there, the next it was gone. Just like that, we were drifting. No engine, no way to call for help, no way to steer. Just 2 men in a little boat, being swallowed by something enormous. The storm lasted for days. We didn't sleep. We took turns bailing water with a bucket, holding the sides, keeping ourselves from going over. You stop being scared after a while. There's no room for it. You just focus on the next wave. Stay on the boat. Just stay on the boat. When it finally passed, the silence was almost worse. We looked around and there was nothing. No land, no ships, no birds, just flat gray water in every direction. We had no idea where we were. Somewhere in the Gulf, maybe. Or maybe the current had already pushed us past it, out into the Pacific. It didn't matter. We couldn't go anywhere. Our food ran out in a couple of weeks. The water went faster. That's when I had to change the way I thought. Stop waiting to be rescued. Start surviving. I tore apart what was left of the fishing nets and rigged a hand line. I caught fish. Sometimes I caught them with my bare hands. You'd be surprised what hunger teaches you. When birds landed on the boat, too tired to fly, we caught those too. We collected rainwater in buckets, in our shirts, in the tarp we stretched across the bow. When there was no rain, we got desperate. We caught sea turtles and drank their blood. It tasted like copper and salt water, but it kept us from dehydrating. You do what you have to do. You stop thinking about what it is, and you just do it. The days were brutal in a way I can't fully put into words. The heat during the day was suffocating. That kind of sun that gets into your skull and stays there. And then, at night, the temperature dropped, and we shivered on the floor of the boat with nothing to cover ourselves. Our skin cracked and blistered from the salt water and the sun. Our muscles started wasting away from not moving, from not eating enough. You could see it happening, your own body eating itself. Tommy started failing before I did. He was young and strong, but that almost made it worse. His body burned through what little he had faster. The bad fish hit him hard, or maybe it was everything together. He got quiet, stopped eating even when I pushed food at him, stopped responding when I talked to him. I could see it happening, and I couldn't stop it. One morning I woke up and Tommy was gone. He must have slipped over the side in the night. I don't know. I'll never know. I was alone. I don't talk about that day much. Losing him was the hardest thing I've ever faced. Harder than the hunger. Harder than the thirst. Harder than any of it. I blame myself. I still do, if I'm being honest. I was the experienced one. I was supposed to bring him home. For a long time after that, I thought about just letting go, just slipping into the water after him. What was the point? But I didn't. I started talking out loud instead. To Tommy mostly. Told him about the fish I caught that day, what the sky looked like, whether I thought it might rain. I talked to my mother back in Corpus Christi. Told her I was okay. Told her I'd be home soon. I talked to God. I talked to nobody. I just kept talking. Because the silence was the most dangerous thing out there. The hallucinations started a couple months in. I'd see a ship on the horizon, clear as anything, lights blinking, and I'd wave and shout and burn whatever I had to make smoke. And then I'd blink, and it would be gone. I never knew what was real and what wasn't. I tracked time by the moon. 1 full moon, 2, 3. At some point, I lost count. The days blurred together. There was catching food and collecting water and staying alive, and that was everything. I signaled every plane I heard. I waved shirts, burned fuel, did everything I could think of. Nothing worked. Either they didn't see me, or they saw me and didn't understand what they were looking at. A tiny broken boat in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Easy to miss, easy to ignore. I was out there for 438 days. On January 30th, 2014, my boat washed up on the shore of a tiny atoll in the Marshall Islands, about as far from Texas as you can get without leaving this planet. The people who found me, a man and his wife who lived on that island, came down to the beach and saw this wreck of a boat and this wreck of a man, and they didn't know what to make of it. I was 120 pounds. I had a beard down to my chest. My skin was cracked and dark from more than a year of open sun. I could barely stand up. I tried to speak, and nothing came out right. They brought me inside, fed me, gave me water, fresh, clean water, and I cried. I'm not ashamed of that. I sat on the floor of their home and I cried like a child. The news spread fast. Within days, reporters were there. They confirmed who I was, tracked the drift, figured out I had traveled more than 6,000 miles across the open Pacific in a 23-foot motorboat with no engine. Doctors who examined me said it was almost physiologically impossible, that the human body shouldn't be able to survive what mine had been through for that long. I spent months in hospitals after that. The body heals faster than the mind. The PTSD was bad. Nightmares, flashbacks, the sound of waves at 3 a.m. that shot me straight upright in bed, heart pounding, reaching for the side of a boat that wasn't there. But I came back, slowly, year by year. I came back. Some people hear this story and they say I was lucky. Maybe I was, but I've thought about it a long time, and I don't think luck is the whole answer. Luck doesn't keep you going on day 200, day 300, Day 400. Something else does that. Some people call it will. Some people call it faith. I just call it having something to come back to. My mother, my kids, the water off Corpus Christi on a clear morning when the light hits it just right. I wanted to see all of that again. That was it. That was the whole thing. That was everything.